Want to have your clip featured in the Skyrim Clip of the Week? Simply record the clip on your Xbox and then send it to me via message. My gamertag is iRyeni, that's IRYENI, and then you can message it to me over Xbox and I'll be able to view it. I look forward to seeing the clips that you guys send me. Now moving on to the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of Modded Monday. We're on week number 222 now, guys. I've picked out 5 new mods for you guys to check out and perhaps add them to your load order if you find them interesting. But like always, before we jump into them, I want to remind you guys that I'm partnered with GamerSupps, which in my opinion is the best energy drink on the market. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'll have the link in the description where you can go to their store page and also use the code RTD for a 10% discount on all your purchases. I also want to say don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes of some brand new mods each and every single week. Now that all that's out of the way, we can jump into this week's mods, and starting us off we have a very fun twist to Skyrim called the Nemesis mod. Now Nemesis is a new enemy that just pursues you and hunts you down forever. He spawns near Whiterun and immediately pursues you right as the game starts. This obviously isn't a mod to take serious, it's more so just to put a big twist on how you play Skyrim so you completely warp your playstyle to be a very fast player. This is a new enemy that you call Nemesis, and it's named Nemesis after Resident Evil 3. It's a fully voiced enemy, and it's very creepy because if he gets closer to you, he starts yelling Dovahkiin in a very demonic voice, and it can really add tension to any type of battle or cave you're exploring. This mod is also in its early stages, so it's possible it could be updated in the future, and the lore behind it, I guess if you could say there's lore behind it, is Nemesis rests until the Dragonborn appears, so it can feast on their soul. It has felt the Dragonborn's presence and will now follow the Dragonborn for eternity. So obviously this isn't a mod to take very seriously, it's more of a mod to just add a bunch of new fun features to the game, where you have to really speedrun everything you do or else the Nemesis will catch up to you. And it's very cool, you know, you really have to change your playstyle. I was using shouts that I pretty much haven't used since the game originally came out. To actually get away from this guy, you can use useful shouts, you can find spells that are really good to use against him. There's also traps and caves that you can use to block him off so that you can explore more freely and actually take your time without him breathing down your neck every 2 seconds. But it's a really fun mod to mess around with, and it's not one that I'd recommend adding to your load order forever. It's more so if you're bored and want to just screw around a little bit and have someone chase you and see how that would feel in Skyrim. It's really fun to just sit down and do that, which also brings me to my next topic, which is if you'd like to see a little spin-off video where I, start out Skyrim and we get the Nemesis mod, I kind of show it off a little bit, and then we actually try to get a small playthrough going. Obviously, you're not going to be able to run through the entire story because there's tons of dialogue, and you have to listen to a bunch of cutscenes, and he'll inevitably catch up to you during those cutscenes, unless you were able to freeze him. But the twist that this mod brings to Skyrim I think would make for a really funny video, so if you want to see that, be sure to let me know in the comments down below, because I feel like that would be a very fun video to make. But other than that, if you wanted to have a little twist put on your Skyrim where someone's constantly chasing you and you aren't able to kill them, and you actually have to progress through the world as fast as you can before he catches up and kills you, then Nemesis is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out, and that's why it's featured here at a number 5 spot, so I'd recommend downloading it and trying it out for yourself. Coming in at a number 4 spot, we have a brand new wildlife mod called Wild World. This is an expansive AI overhaul that touches every single creature in Skyrim, and it's an AI mod that adds new packages, overhauls creature factions, improves their fight or flight response, and standardizes the aggro radius and enables it on most creatures. What Wild World doesn't do is add any new creatures or new variants, new spawn points, styles, races, or stats, so it's actually a mod that can be used with a bunch of other hunting mods that you may have in your load order. Now when it comes to these animals, they live, which means most creatures, unless domesticated, will endlessly wander the wilds of Skyrim and find the nearest towns, ruins, or fort to chill out in. By default, creatures are allowed a small wander radius in interior locations unless certain conditions forbid it, and creatures naturally form groups at certain times of the day, either patrolling a shared territory, resting, feeding, or traveling together and eventually parting ways. Now, not only do they live, they also hunger, which means that all living, flesh and blood creatures will seek subsistence. Either from natural flora, or cheese wheels, or the flesh of the living, you can actually tell what they've eaten by looting their corpses. And of course also they rest, which means that bears and saber cats will rest during the day, and most other creatures will have periods of little activity. And they even kill too, because predators aren't friends and neither are prey. The fluffy saber cat won't aid the lonely wolf in battle, they'll kill each other. Likewise, more competitive prey might fight each other. However, not all prey and predators are enemies. Lonely wolves may only dine on silly rabbits, but a big bad bear might just ignore them. And that's not all these animals can do, they can also think, which means that most creatures will think twice before engaging an enemy they probably won't beat, stronger ones won't flee unless outmatched, and the strongest or non-living will never flee. And most creatures will warn you if your character gets too close, but only for a few seconds, so you have a very short time period to get away. But it is cool that they were able to add that in so that creatures will actually warn you as you get close, instead of just attacking you straight on. Now this mod brings so many new features to the table whenever it comes to hunting and animal mods, so if you're looking to change the wildlife in your Skyrim and maybe make them feel a lot more realistic, then the Wild World is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out, and that's why it's featured here at our number 4 spot, so I'd recommend downloading it. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have a huge new beautiful player home called the Heartwood Castle. Now this is a lore-friendly and highly defensible player home in the Rift. It's medium-sized and family and follower-friendly. It has crafting stations, a generous number of planters, named storage, guards and other staff, mannequins and weapon displays, and more. Now the mod author states that if you're anything like me, you've long wanted a player home that felt secure and defensible, because Skyrim's a great place for making enemies after all, without it being oversized or totally incompatible with the Skyrim lore. We need a convenient safe haven where you can dump your wealth without worrying that the Whiterun drunk will stumble in at 4 AM and help himself to the Daedric artifact from a wall display. Grand and impressive without it being a sprawling maze, and a perfect balance between aesthetics and utilitarianism. Now this is all acquired by a combination of bounty quest and purchase system, and you'll be able to find a bounty posted in the Iverstead Inn as well as in Rift Inn, but both of the dead mercenaries on the steps up to the main gate of the house carry a copy of this as well. You'll need to read the bounty to discover what you'll face when you enter the castle grounds, and the prize for defeating it. Spoiler alert, it's a dragon. This dragon carries the key and it's needed to access the player home. To actually make the player home yours, however, you have to go upstairs to the ledger on the desk in the master's quarters, which will then allow you to acquire Heartwood Castle and the attendant staff, which will set you back 20,000 gold, but bear in mind that the ownership won't update unless you purchase the deed to the castle, meaning that the storage and beds will be off limits until then. So here we have a brand new castle player home that you pay 20,000 gold for and also have to defeat a dragon to gain entrance to. So this is an absolutely amazing player home. I really like what the interior looks like, how to acquire it, how everything's set up and the location it's in. Everything about this castle is perfect, and it also allows for a lot of open areas in your castle as well, so that you can use mods such as the placeable statics mod, so you can add your own furniture into the house as well if you'd like to. So with all these customization options, you'll be able to craft the perfect castle for any type of player that you may have, and that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our number 3 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Heartwood Castle player home mod and becoming its proud new owner. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have a mod that'll go perfect with the Heartwood Castle player home mod, or any other player home that you'll have, and that's the Undead Guardians mod. This mod allows for 9 new conjuration spells to be created that create permanent undead minions, which by default guard the location they were originally created in. They're unaffected by summon limits, so you can theoretically have as many as you'd like, but they require ingredients in addition to magicka to successfully cast. And from an RP perspective, the filled black soul gems each requires powers of the reanimation in your absence. Leaving them independent of your magicka or presence once created, they can be called on to follow or support the player using a lesser power, which is also unaffected by follower and summon limits, or to independently hunt and destroy NPCs in a wide radius. However, for balance reasons, they're neither protected or essential. So basically what that means is you can conjure up your own guardians once you get the materials and have them stand by your player home while you're not there, or maybe guard any other location that you maybe plan to explore. Once you place them down, they'll stay there and guard that location, and if you maybe want them to move, you'll also be given some other player powers, such as the Command Guardian Follow, as well as the Command Guardian Dismiss, and they can also be commanded to guard a new location using the other lesser power, Command Guardian Guard Location. Some of these guardians can also equip weapons and armor that you give them, or carry items for you using the lesser power Command Guardian Carry/Use. Upon your guardian's death, they will turn to ash, but drop a now empty soul gem for you. And where to actually get all of these spells to cast all of these guardians for yourself is all of them can be found in the relevant leveled lists and can be bought from the conjuration vendors once you have the prerequisite conjuration level. Reading any of these spellbooks also teaches the follow, guard, dismiss, summon, hunt and destroy, and carry and use lesser powers. Some of these new spells and resources can also be found and purchased from the new vendor residing northwest of Morthal. So if you plan on getting the Heartwood Castle, which was the number 3 spot, I'd strongly recommend getting the Undead Guardians as well, because then you can place a bunch of different guardians around your area so that you can completely guard your castle with a bunch of guardians. These guardians will hunt and destroy anything that comes near it, and they'll keep you safe at all times. And something else that I realized about this mod is some of the guardians that you actually summon require a real dead body first. And we all know who we're going to be going for first, so that you can actually have Nazim guard your player home for the rest of eternity. I don't think he'll be getting to the Cloud District too much anymore. So if you're looking to be able to spawn guardians to help you out in battle, or maybe just spawn them to guard your player homes or any other location that you'd like, then the Undead Guardians is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out because it brings so many new features to the table and gives you plenty of more reasons to actually go down the Conjuration skill tree, and that's why this mod's featured here at our number 2 spot, so I strongly recommend downloading it and trying out these Undead Guardians yourself. Coming in at our number 1 spot, we have one of the largest castle player homes that I think I've ever seen. This is Castle Orlok, which is an immense and carefully furnished player-owned vampire castle to the south and overlooking the town of Falkreath. This mod also features a mini quest, which allows you to find out what happened before your arrival at the castle, as well as 3 new spells. What we have so far in this mod is a first floor, an entry foyer, a library, a dining room, a kitchen, pantry, servant quarters, an armory with 7 mannequins, 6 display cases, and 6 dagger display cases, a salon, a laboratory, an old priest's quarters, an embalmment room, as well as some NPCs to go along with those rooms. We have a basement, an interior garden, a smithy, as well as a treasury, a thrall prison, a torture chamber, resting places for resident vampires. And then moving on to the upper floor of the castle, we have the master bedroom, which has a fireplace that has a connection to a throne room and escape route, a guest bedroom, a follower bedroom, extra storage space, as well as 2 servants. This castle also includes a tower, which has a bunch of open space and a throne room, study, enchanter, and alchemy lab. It also has access to a balcony with an epic view of Skyrim, as well as some catacombs. These allow for tombs and a main chamber for a backstory, and in the main chamber you have a new special sword, which is similar to the one Lord Harkin owns. Finally, on the outside of the castle, we have a guard tower and barracks, which has a pull chain for the front gate, as well as a guard barracks for a sleeping quarters, living quarters, bar, and an armory. So as you can see, this is an absolutely huge and amazing player home, and I still have no idea how they were able to fit all of this into a 3.46 megabyte mod. It completely blows my mind with all the features that are allowed with this mod, especially with all the NPCs that it adds into the mod as well. This has to be one of the biggest player homes that I've covered in this series, and I really enjoy how it looks as well as its location, and it gets revealed how it came to be through a backstory and a mini quest in the mod. So this mod really ties everything together and makes you have a brand new player home, whether it's for a vampire character, a necromancer, or just any type of character that you may have. So this mod has everything that you're going to need, and that's why it's featured here at our number 1 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Castle Orlok player home mod. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the top 5 Skyrim mods of the week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me out a lot. And if you have any suggestions for mods you'd like me to cover in future top 5 mod episodes, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to leave my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me on there and leave me suggestions there as well. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later.